Hi there, AK Guy here, and today I'll be reviewing the Redmi Note 7. So in case you do not know, the very first device that I ever reviewed was the Redmi Note 3, and I've reviewed every single Redmi Note device that came out ever since. I'm really excited to see what this has to offer, so let's go. Across all 4 generations that I've reviewed, they have one thing in common: the metal body. Over the years, Xiaomi has done little to improve the design and it started to get a little stale. But with the Redmi Note 7, Xiaomi finally gave the Redmi Note series a much needed redesign. There isn't any screen protector applied, so you have to get one for yourself. As mentioned earlier, the Redmi Note 7 has a glass body. It feels comfortable in the hand despite not having curved edges. The gradient looks fabulous, and you'll be glad to know that this thing isn't a fingerprint magnet. There is quite a bit of camera hum, and you'll still feel it even with the included case on. Notice how the bottom says Redmi by Xiaomi instead of the Mi logo. On the top, we have a microphone hole, an IR blaster, and a headphone jack. We have a SIM tray to the left with a nano SIM and a hybrid slot, and on the right are the power button and volume buttons. On the bottom, we have 2 grills, but only the right one contains the speaker. Between the grills is a USB Type-C port. The display is a 6.3-inch IPS LCD panel that is bright enough to be viewed under sunlight and has pleasing colors. The bezels on the sides are pretty big by today's standards, but the notch on top is small, housing only a single front-facing camera that also acts as the proximity sensor. The earpiece is hidden along the edge at the top. Powering the Redmi Note 7 is the Snapdragon 660 processor. There were some stutters when playing PUBG Mobile at medium graphics, but it runs smoothly most of the time. S4 Legends ran at high graphics without noticeable frame drops. In both Antutu and Geekbench 4, the Redmi Note 7 had a noticeable improvement over its predecessor. So there are 2 cameras on the rear of the Redmi Note 7. The first camera uses a 48 megapixel Samsung GM1 sensor. It isn't true 48 megapixel sensor if you read up on it. It's actually a 12 megapixel sensor that uses interpolation to produce a 48 megapixel photo. So let's see the results later. The secondary camera uses a 5 megapixel sensor and it is used for depth sensing. Photos turn out great in the day, as with most phones these days. At night though is when it really shines. Ever since the Redmi Note 5, the Redmi Note series offered superb low light photography experience for the price, and the Redmi Note 7 is no exception. Even without enabling night mode, which uses long exposure shots to take in more light, low light photos look pleasing without a lot of noise. With night mode, low light photos turn out brighter with greater contrast. Regarding that 48 megapixel sensor, we do get a little bit more details as seen from the clouds in this picture. So while it isn't true 48 megapixel, you'll still get a sharper image than just using it to take 12 megapixel photos. And now I'm recording on the rear cameras of the Redmi Note 7. So these rear cameras can only record up to 1080p, 60 frames per second. Let's walk around and take a look. I'm going to speed up. In front, we have a single 30 megapixel camera. Like most front-facing cameras, this one suffers from poor dynamic range and colors are a little pale. I'm now recording on the front-facing camera of the Redmi Note 7. It can record up to 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. Dynamic range seems to be not very good, but that's expected from most front-facing cameras. Battery life on the Redmi Note 7 is comparable to the Redmi Note 6 Pro, and that isn't too great for a 4000 mAh battery. It was able to get me through a day of moderate to intensive usage, with 8% battery remaining and a screen on time of a little over 5 hours. So, should you upgrade to the Redmi Note 7? If you are coming from a device older than the Redmi Note 5, then yes, it's definitely time to upgrade right now. But if you are coming from the Redmi Note 5 or the Redmi Note 6 Pro or equivalent phone from other brands, then let me put it this way. The Redmi Note 7 is the biggest upgrade the Redmi Note series have ever received, ever. So if you do not mind paying the money, then this is definitely worth getting. So that's the end of my Redmi Note 7 review. I hope you like it. If you like this video, do leave a like on my Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Goodbye.